Capstone is a class that gives high school students the opportunity to see what problem solving is like at the next step in their career. In any job where you get to have a creative freedom to solve problems, this class really helps you prepare for that. This first step we took in this class was to find a problem that we cared about enough to solve. Immediately, I started to think of things that would better help me and other people. I wanted to help people with weight loss and how to stay motivated throughout their routine, but after some more brainstorming, I settled on how to help people with little to no knowledge on cars assess and possibly fix what could be wrong with their car. This is an important skill to know, especially if you want to save money as a student. I first noticed that this was a problem when many of my friends had come to me with questions about a sound their car made or a weird feeling in the steering wheel. And while I do love answering these questions, I realized that if many of my friends had these questions, there must be so many other teens going through the same thing, but no one to go to. At first, I had the idea of a microphone that listened to a sound and accompanied with a short survey on where the noise is coming from and what type of noise it was, and any other signs that there is something wrong with the car could roughly tell you what was wrong. The problem with the solution is that for the target audience, which are people who don't have any knowledge on cars, it wouldn't be the easiest thing for them to properly diagnose their car. And that's when I thought of a simpler solution that could more properly and precisely diagnose the problem. And with this solution, all that was needed from the user was to plug it into the OBD2 port right under the steering wheel, and just press a few buttons. Now my solution, which is a scanner, is something that already exists, and many people, depending on what county you live in, have interacted with it somehow, as in some counties you need an e-check to test your emissions, and while it can do that, there are many other things it can do. But it is made for people who are experienced with the scanners, but with my innovation, the scanner can be used by anyone. My innovation to the scanner was an app on your phone that connected to the scanner through a Bluetooth chip and had easy to follow and clear instructions on how to use it. The app also would contain information on repairs, repair costs, and part costs as well, and also where to find these parts for your vehicle. My plan was to partner with a car parts supplier to easily direct the customers to what they need. To better tailor my product for my target demographic, I used the root cause analysis, ecosystem, and empathy map. Root cause analysis is when you take the main problem and work with it to find out why it is happening. For example, the main problem is people not knowing how to maintain or work on their car. And this can stem from a bunch of things. For example, they're worried about money, they don't know what to do, they don't want to get ripped off by a random mechanic. So this helps me better solve the problem to see what my customers really need. The ecosystem map helped me see the difference between an expert user and a beginner user. Obviously, the expert user doesn't really need any instructions to use the product, while the beginner user needs help throughout the entire process. So I needed to find a good middle ground so that everyone could use my product. Now, the empathy map helped me work with one user to see how they felt about my product. They could see the pros and cons and how they feel about certain areas and what I could improve on. Aside from those, the interviews are what really helped me pinpoint what I did wrong and what I did good.
This is Moose's low-tech prototype, and I think the idea of having a device where you don't have to like go to a mechanic to know what's wrong with your car. Instead, you can just use this and plug it into your car. And I think that could save a lot of people time and money just by knowing what the actual problem is.
Another thing that aided me in completing my capstone was the design process that our coach set out for us. The design process follows the steps of identify, investigate, interpret, ideate, and implement. In the identify stage, I found a problem that was close to me. Some of my friends and family have no idea how to maintain or work on their car. In the investigate step, I searched for a reason as to why this problem is so prevalent among teens these days. Many teens, almost 72% in the US, do not know how to maintain or work on their car properly. For the interpret step, we had something called an interpret statement. Mine was drivers need a way to self-diagnose because I learned that many people are not comfortable working on their car. I took all the information from my interviews from the investigate step and gathered it all into one place. The ideate step is where I took information from the interpret step and compiled it into maps, like the ecosystem and empathy map. This helped me to see what my customers needed from me and what I could do better. One thing specifically that I needed to work on is how user-friendly my product was. User-friendliness is a big part of my solution, as you need to be skilled in mechanics and automotive repair to be able to properly operate a scanner to even figure out a problem with the car.
The final step, the implement step, is where I would have given my product to a user to use and to see how user-friendly it was, as that was a big part of my brand, user-friendliness. A soft skill I had gained is communication, as I had to keep up with my users to see if they wanted anything improved upon or added to the product. Another one is public speaking, as I had never spoken to that many people at once before, so I got used to it after a while. As well as time management. Time management was important because I had to keep everyone on a steady pace to get through everyone's interviews.
A hard skill I learned was how to use CAD to build a model of something. I also learned how to 3D print using the same CAD model. Thank you for listening to my capstone.